Now, this is the second major cyber attack in the United States in a month. Hackers targeted the Colonial Pipeline, which triggered and threatened our nation's fuel supply. And now this meat company hack. So what comes next with all of this? Joining us this evening is Jack Kudale, the CEO of Cowbell Cyber, based in Pleasanton. Jack, nice to have you on the program.
Great to be with you, Raj. Well, thanks for having me.
Before we get into this, what does Cowbell Cyber do in Pleasanton? What exactly does your business specialize in?
You know, Cowbell is a cross-industry innovation between cybersecurity and insurance. So we provide cyber insurance to small to medium-sized businesses powered by data, powered by AI, and powered by proprietary ratings factor.
All right, so when you say insurance, so if my medium-sized company gets a cyber attack, you will then insure whatever business or revenue I lose?
That is what essentially cyber insurance is, to protect businesses from financial losses on the other side of cyber attacks,
and Jack,
whether it's the first-party losses, expenses, or third-party liabilities.
Oh, and Jack, walk us through this now in layman's terms. That's why we brought you on the program tonight. How does this hack happen? In terms of JBS, how do they even ask for a ransom if it gets to that point?
You know, great question. You know, throughout the pandemic, businesses were really racing for digital transformation. You couldn't go and meet somebody and shake hands, meet for coffee or lunch. And so that has resulted into an amazing amount of exposure and vulnerabilities into the business infrastructure. And any employee can just simply open a phishing email or click on a malicious file, or some legacy systems could not be patched, and then you have cyber criminals that are waiting for these cyber exposures to be really exploited. Now, they hold your data at ransom, and this is where you have a significant damages in terms of the supply chain, all the way from the partners, suppliers, and you're looking at a massive inconvenience that is caused to individuals like you and I and our audience here. You going to a gas station for granted, thinking that you're going to be able to pump gas in your car, and you're taking a grocery run for granted, thinking that what's on your list you can actually procure. So this is a very serious times that we're going through in terms of cyber risk, which is the greatest threat to our economy at this time.
And Jack, you just mentioned, we talked about the meat supply, we talked about the gas supply. What comes next? Could it be our energy supply or water supply?
You know, no business is immune to cyber attack. I mean, the cyber criminals go after businesses that are weak, that are don't have enough cybersecurity controls. But they go after the most valued assets, whether you have PII data, PHI data. So unfortunately, this is a new order. And every business, small or medium, now the small to medium-sized businesses have done a great job in terms of integrating their cybersecurity and the cyber insurance together. But large businesses, not much. And so unfortunately, this is a new order. To a degree, if you will, cyber risk is a next digital pandemic, for lack of better words.
Very interesting. As we wrap this up, there are a lot of Silicon Valley companies, I know of a few of them off the top of my head, who are actually in cybersecurity. Why aren't bigger companies enrolling the services of these startups here in the Silicon Valley?
You know, as cybersecurity, it's a $140 billion market that's about to go to $200 billion market. And then you look at cyber insurance market, that is about 20% of cybersecurity market. And we have seen the cybersecurity market that has grown from that 20-something billion dollars a decade ago to this $140 billion. Now, you know, you use cybersecurity to prevent and detect the cyber attacks. The cyber insurance is really extending that life cycle of cybersecurity and providing protection to businesses in terms of being able to respond to the cyber attacks and recover from those cyber attacks. So essentially, cyber insurance is not a replacement of cybersecurity, but to avoid the situations like that, what we're seeing through these days, you have to strategize the risk transfer and the cybersecurity controls as a single strategy, as opposed to looking at them as two different pieces of business.
It is a whole new world. Jack Kudale from Cowbell Cyber in Pleasanton, thank you so much for your time tonight.